Welcome to another Fierce Street review. I am back again alone, but we're alone together, me and my alcohol, and you, good friends. I am here today, right now, at this moment, because this is not the first review today. I am here with C for Me, which made its Tribeca debut on June 10th, which is a lovely day. Uh, I'm definitely gonna have spoilers because that's what I do. I speak in spoilers. So if you don't want this ruined, you don't want to listen to this. If, however, you love spoilers, I've got you. Let's get into it. So, C for Me is about a blind former skier named Sophie who cat sits in a secluded mansion. Thieves invade for the hidden safe, and her only defense is Army veteran Kelly, who plays first person shooters online and now lives out her fantasy as Sophie's eyes. So, one of the many reasons this is coming late is because I'm not part of the community that we need to be hearing from on this particular movie. I highly encourage us all to check in on those reviewers that can discuss the movie more thoroughly than the superficial review that I'm about to give. That goes for a lot of the reviews you're going to read about this and hear about this. We really need to check in with the communities that are being written about to see how things can be better and where they can be better and to just do better in general. Like when I first heard about this movie, I was really worried because we know that Hollywood is very bad about casting people who should actually play the roles that are written. And I was worried. I was so worried. And so I was happy to see an actor who should be playing this role play this role instead of us just throwing someone willy-nilly in there with abandon because we like their show on CW or what have you. I enjoyed that this character also had layers. Like she's using her disability to scam people, and she's lying to her mother because she's trying to get her independence via scamming people, and she's like hoarding money, and her morals are questionable. And I love that because usually when this community is written about, they are not written about as people who are also fun and engaging and possibly not 100% pure saints. And I feel like the more we get away from that, the better. But that's again a me thing, and we will be listening and waiting for others to chime in because that's what we should be doing. This is a typical home invasion movie, so if you're into those, you might like it. I personally do not like home invasion movies, and had I been more present, I wouldn't have watched this. But again, I try not to like get too far into like synopsis and trailers because things will ruin things for the experience. So I would have probably avoided this. I find home invasions very, very predictable, and I don't like a predictable movie. If you don't know that about me, you've just learned that. Thank you. My biggest issue with this particular film, though, is the way that the only two POC characters, both of which are femme, only exist to serve the lead. And while we can make a case for the framework justifying that a little bit, one of them, who plays a cop, she is a woman of color who plays a cop, literally is just sort of like murdered for Sophie's sake because Sophie has decided to partner with the intruders because again our girl is not she's not our innocent little like victim that most of Hollywood would paint her as. And so she's decided to like do this. But the other woman, Kelly, who's gotten her help, has sent this woman to this house. And this woman keeps trying to encourage Sophie to tell the truth because she thinks Sophie's lying to protect herself, which we know is not the case. And so this woman of color is murdered. And that's how Sophie decides that perhaps she should not partner up with these villains. I have issues. I get really upset when we murder a POC on screen so that our lead can make a discovery about themselves or decide to do better. And that just, it's very sticky for me. And so again, that's some of my own lived experiences coming through and clouding this particular movie for me. I also noticed an ongoing issue where we sometimes we tend to like move forward with what we're doing for one group with failing another group. And that's part of why, again, having the two POCs that are just there to serve Sophie, that is their only function in this movie, it feels gross because I feel like intersectionality is a conversation we should all be having if we're not already. And movies that actually do the work could be better served by including it, by having like people who don't fit into the one box. Because again, that is a trap that a lot of Hollywood movies fall into, is they're serving the one box and they forget that life is not that clean and cut. So there are people of color, and there are people of different genders, and there are people of different sexualities, and people of all over, and all the other things that I'm not even thinking of right now, who could easily also do this. And that might have helped some of the ooginess, especially surrounding the way the two women of color were treated. And who knows who else that is left out of this conversation. A lesser issue I have is that Kelly, the woman assisting Sophie, has a really awkwardly forced backstory. It felt like they were just sort of forcing her army past and her love of first-person shooters into this so they can check the boxes of what the description promised us, as opposed to these are natural dialogue things. This is a conversation where this comes up naturally. It was very much like, I served in here, I did this, I love this game, and I was like, where did this come from? That felt forced. I don't like forced dialogue, which is another one of my sticky things. It bothers me on so many levels. And again, it's one of the reasons why I did not have a great time watching this movie. But again, forced dialogue and home invasion movies sort of go hand in hand, unfortunately. It's another reason I usually just steer clear, because they're not for me. So we are at the yay or the nay. And I'm going to say that I think Trent would enjoy this movie. Yeah, I think Trent would enjoy this movie. I'm not going to revisit it because home invasions, again, are not my thing. And the dialogue being forced is also a little bit of a thing on my spine, on top of the women of color being used that way, as opposed to actually being invited into a story where they could have done more and had more agency and purpose. Yeah. I will also say, though, that while I have issues with this movie, it feels less oogie than some movies that people love that also try and tackle a person who is of this community and in a home invasion situation. So, like, it's got that going for it, and that it felt less offensive on that front. But again, that's me not being a part of the community and not 100% able to say, this is what I see, this is what I see, this is what I feel, these are things that I know are wrong 100%. These are things that I feel could have been finessed. I, again, am not there for that. All of that to say, special thank you to our friends at Tribeca for making this review possible. Again, there's not a lot of random DIY horror podcasters just hanging out at a festival of this magnitude anywhere. So thanks, friends. I also just want to say, hit us up in the comments if you agree or if you disagree, because I live for our comments, as most of you have figured out by now. If you haven't, then that's a cool little tidbit to give you, and I'll see you there, hopefully. That's all I got. Bye.